Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Journey of Discovery. I'm your host, Dr. Bill Hanshew. This program airs each Thursday at 4 p.m. on Eastern Standard Time and is available also on demand. I want to say thank you to the Grace Awakening Network and to our friends and partners at World Bible School International Training Center. Our ministry, WBSITC Incorporated, is a multifaceted ministry offering ordination for ministers, consecration for apostles, and confirmation for bishops. And through World Bible School Fellowship, we offer a membership for your church or ministry in a safe place for communication, encouragement, instruction, and the constant affirmation of love. And through World Bible School University, we offer a full degree program where you can earn your education in a fully accredited, tuition-free, and professional environment. Through World Bible School Media, we offer free-to-watch video lessons on our YouTube channel by searching for the words World Bible School Media, and then please click subscribe. Well, you can visit all of these things, and not all of them, but most of them and more at wbsitc.net for more information. All right. Now, last time we were talking about Genesis 1:6 and looking at the expanse of God, as in the supernatural universe of God that He created. Genesis 1:6, real quickly, in the International Standard Version. Let me get it up on the screen for you. There we go. And it says, "Then God said, let there be a canopy," or an expanse, "between bodies of water," or literally between waters, separating bodies of water, or literally separating waters from bodies of waters. Okay? Now, this means and can also mean the waters, as in many waters. Genesis 1 verse 6 in the New Living Translation, and I want to just keep these going because I've got a few scriptures to share with you. There we go. All right. And it says this, it says, "Then God said, let there be space between the waters." Now remember, New King James would say firmament, okay? And we want to see both of these and see how this works, because this is very important, okay? "Let there be space between the waters and separate the waters of the heavens from the waters of the earth." Now again, if you're looking at a literal interpretation, that's kind of what you'll see here. The Living Bible says, "And God said, let the vapors separate to form the sky above and the oceans below." So, in other words, when we talk about the words "let the vapors separate," this could read "the vapors separate," or literally "let there be a dome," or to divide the waters. So once again, there's a supernatural and there's a natural, just as there's an invisible and a visible, and there is an above and below, and there is the heavens as in the sky, and the earth as in beneath the sky. All of these things are relevant but must properly be interpreted. Now, God sees it all as one realm and not many. We talked about this last time. And remember that the English word for heaven is defined as in the Greek language as the abode of God, which is in you. Okay? So it's very important to understand that what we're seeing here is the information about the abode of God. And then Genesis 1:6 in the Holman Christian Standard Bible says, "And God said, let there be an expanse between the waters," separating the waters from the waters. Now, the Hebrew word for expanse is from a root meaning to spread out, stamp, beat firmly, which suggests something like a dome. So what we have established is that the expanse or firmament is a visible arch in the sky, simply meaning above. And it's not literal. There's a symbolism to this as we're getting into this message here. Okay? Now, let's notice. We need to understand, or at least consider, the visible as that which is invisible to the natural eye, right? Well, then, all things being equal, we need to consider that the visible is simply that which is visible to the natural eye. Well, once again, we've talked about this Genesis 1:6 in the Holman Standard Christian Bible, and it talks about the firmament, the separation of the waters. So we need to understand the visible, so-called the invisible. Now listen, the invisible, so-called invisible realm, and is that which is only invisible to the natural eyesight. And the opposite is true when it comes to the visible, simply being that which is visible to the natural eye. When it comes to how we see things, seeing that that in the beginning, instead of God creating the heavens and the earth, He clearly created the realm of one, which was the entire universe. Now, why is that? Well, it's because the Hebrew culture of that time period did not see things from a dualistic perspective, but only with a single eye within the mind. Consider this, that the Hebrew word for expanse is from a root word meaning to spread out. We talked about that a moment ago. To stamp or to beat firmly. All things suggest something like a dome. So what we have established is that the expanse or the firmament is the visible arch in the sky, simply meaning above, and it is that which is seen with a supernatural eye, come on, of the Spirit. So if I was looking and all I could see was the natural, this pocket of air that allows us to breathe, if all I saw was that, then I would be talking about a natural perspective. But if I was talking about a supernatural covering where God protects, God keeps, God established through an eternal truth, His creation, if that's what I saw, then I'd have to see that with a supernatural eye. And so, as we look at this once again, the Genesis 1:1, the New King James says, "In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth." So, the English word heaven. Let's look at this and let's break this down from the Hebrew language. The Hebrew word is shamayim, which is from an unused root word meaning to be lofty as in the sky, because that's one way of seeing it. Doesn't make James Strong right about everything. As aloft, the dual perhaps alluding to the visible arch in this in which the clouds move. Okay, there's a natural perspective, as well as the higher ether where the celestial bodies revolve. So we do have a natural and a supernatural. Well, just like the Greek word meaning, this word for heaven is also used as the abode of God, which is you. And you are His abode or His dwelling place. Now, the English word for earth is from the Hebrew word eretz. Okay? So we've seen heaven. Now let's look at earth, meaning to be firm, or that is used as the inhabitants or the people of the land, and points to a people more than a planet. So when we look at the word earth, we're so prone to believe that it is the physical planet that we're attached to by gravity, but in reality that's the one perspective. But to look with the single eye from the Spirit, first from the Spirit, not the natural, but first from the Spirit, which is our eternal reality, we see the earth as a what I have renamed theologically as the species known as mankind. And so in the beginning, which was not a beginning, Elohim created out of nothing the entire universe, including the species known as mankind. Now, from an online search that I did, just of general knowledge and information, I discovered that in Hebrew literature, including the Bible, the terms heaven and earth are often used as figures of speech, all right, to convey various meanings beyond their literal interpretation. Now, in Hebrew cosmology and worldview, the heavens typically refer to the sky or the realm of God, while the earth refers to the physical world and sometimes the inhabitants of the earth. Think about this. When the Bible was being written, mankind heard what they believed they heard as the voice of God. They wrote it down, and they interpreted and they embellished on it, meaning that they added the P's and Q's and the things that would make it sound structural. The truth is that when we look at these words, we see a natural perception from natural men who were thinking in terms of a naturalness, when in reality there's a supernatural interpretation of what God wanted us to see. Now, once again, these terms I've been using are frequently used metaphorically to represent broader concepts such as the entirety of creation, the divine order, the spiritual realm, and or the covenant between God and humanity. Amen? Very important. Now, as an example, in the creation narrative of Genesis, heaven and earth are used to signify the entire cosmos. Yet in other passages, they may symbolize the enduring nature of God's promises or the distinction between the divine and the earthly. So while the Hebrew people did not use terms like heaven and earth literally, at times they also employed them as rich metaphors to express deeper theological and philosophical concepts. And this is what I call seeing or understanding through the single eye. All right? Now, let's look at Matthew chapter 6. Let me see here. Okay, Matthew chapter 6, verses 22 and 23, as we look at what God is trying to unveil to us. And we're looking first at the King James Version, and then we'll come back and look at other translations as we go. But notice here, the light of the body is the eye. The light of the body is the eye. If therefore thine eye be single, thy whole body shall be full of light. But if thine eye be evil, thy whole body shall be full of darkness. If therefore the light is that is in thee be darkness, how great is my darkness, or that darkness? Well, my thoughts are that the place that light literally or practically shines into the body begins with the eyes, right? Thus the term, if therefore thine eye be single, thy whole body be full of light. Okay, now what I see here is that the word eye has many meanings, symbolisms, metaphors, and allegorical references to it, and it is in this case that it would give us the idea of seeing things through and with a single eye, and therefore ridding ourselves of dualistic thinking. Okay? So when it comes to things like heavens and earth, soul and spirit, natural and supernatural realm, or natural realm and supernatural realm, while they can be explained individually, they should be viewed through the single eye principle. Okay? And so this is very important. Now, let's notice here. In Matthew 6, verse 22 to 23, and this is the easy to read version. Watch this. The only source of light for the body is the eye. If you look at people and want to help them, you will be full of light. But if you look at people in a selfish way, you will be full of darkness. And if the light, notice this, if the light only, if only the light you have is really darkness, then you have the worst kind of light. All right? So notice the Message Bible, what it says. It says, your eyes are windows into your body. If you open your eyes, or you open your mind, would be a rendering here, wide in wonder and belief, your body fills up with light. If you live squinty-eyed, in greed and distrust, your body is a musty cellar. If you pull the blinds on your windows, that dark life you will have. All right? So when it comes to what you see, how you see, things or how you see things in the spirit or the natural, the spiritual, the supernatural, depends on how wide open your mind or literally or your internal thought patterns are. Think about it. Okay, let's go to Matthew chapter 6, verse 22 to 23 in the New English translation. Notice it says, "The eye is the lamp of the body. If your if then your eye is healthy, or literally, if your eye is sound, if it's solid, if it's good, your whole body will be full of light. But if your eye is diseased or sick, your whole body will be full of disease. If then the light in you is darkness, how great is the darkness?" So again, not a question, but a statement. A footnote even says that instead of "then your eye is healthy," this could read "then the eye is sound." So the L and N says, and most scholars, which we'll come to in just a moment. And a few scholars take this word to mean something like generous here, partly due to the immediate context concerning money. In this case, which the I is a metonymy for the entire person if you are generous, so to speak. Well, the acronym for L&N stands for Lou, Jonas, P, and Eugene, Nadia, EDS. The Greek. This is a Greek English lexicon of the New Testament based on semantic domains and so on, and there's the information. Okay, well, you're not getting the information, but I'm just telling you it's a commentary type thing. So when verse 23 says, "If your eye is diseased," or "if your eye is sick," it interprets it this way. From a study note, and it's the L and N that interprets it that way. From a study note, it says there may be a slight wordplay here, as this term can also mean evil, so the figure uses a term that points to the real meaning of being careful as to what one pays attention to or looks at. Ancient understandings of the version involved light coming into the body from the outside, and light thus easily becomes a metaphor for teaching. Think about that. How cool is that? Well, as a diseased eye would hinder the passage of light, then also the metaphor Jesus' teaching, that's what we're talking about here, it's a metaphor for the teachings of Jesus, would be blocked from being internalized in the hearer. That's you. Think about that. All right? Very important. Now, if this is a metaphor for teaching, then this would be symbolic of if our minds or thoughts are closed to hearing the voice of the Spirit, provides us with valuable revelation from God. Then we will not hear, and we will miss out on becoming acquainted with the truth that makes mankind free in his or her thinking. So, again, so very important as we're watching these different verses and versions of Scripture. So let's look at Genesis 1, verse 6 in the New King James Version. And it says, "Then God said, let there be firmament." Let there be a firmament, literally an expanse, as in the midst of the waters, and let it divide the waters from the waters. So if you're looking at this verse from a natural or practical view, then the most common reference to the word expanse is an uninterrupted area, space or area, a wide extent of anything, as in an expanse of water, and so on. Well, the root word for expanse is from the Latin word expandere, something to that nature, meaning to spread out, unfold, which is a compound word made up of ex, meaning out, and pandre, meaning spread or stretch. Therefore, an expanse is something that seems to unfold before your eyes. That's kind of like Revelation, right? Or to put it another way, something that stretches out as far as the eye can see. Now, allegorically, what I see is that God saw into our future, where, like Christ, we move from invisibility to visibility, and lost our way, in terms of looking away from the perfect law of liberty, as in our origin as godlike beings, and forgot what kind of created being we actually were. Think about that. Therefore, the expanse has to do with a God concept, knowing that if mankind steps outside their implanted God mind or God identity, he knew that we were still in touch with the supernatural universe or expanse, whether we understood it or not, and that region or that expanse holds the knowledge of God so that we can fill up again and live as visible in a world where doubt and unbelief are present. So it's something that we want to continue to pursue, something we want to know, something we want to believe in, right? And so let's notice here. Let's see. Okay, we want to look at Genesis 1, verse 8. Genesis 1, verse 8 again. And it says, "And God called the firmament heaven, and so the evening and the morning were the second day." Now, a simple little verse, but we need to understand. Once again, as we look at Genesis 1, verse 6 and Genesis 1, verse 8, the English word firmament is interpreted as in the Hebrew language as the word rakia, meaning a visible arch of the sky, also known as an expanse, and it's a visible arch of the sky, not up in the sky, of the sky, also known as an expanse or the expanse of God. Now, the word expanse, and I know we've looked at these definitions last time, but let's see them one more time just to really get clear on this. Expanse is defined as an area of something, typically land or sea, presenting a wide continuous surface. Wide continuous surface means that it's unending. Well, that's what the expanse of God is, the universe of God is. And when God said, "Let there be a firmament," and since he sees the entire universe in the singular, as in a single realm, and not plural as in many, then that visible arch of the sky, known as the expanse, also called the universe, as whole or complete, it means that God does not only see a substance that divided the waters from the waters, but it divides the waters from, not just divides the waters, but it divides the waters from the waters. Now, again, I want to look at this because I thought last time that we really needed to dig a little deeper into this word for water. Water, H4325, comes from the Hebrew word mayim. Also has a dual message or dual usage application to it, such as it is used in a singular sense where the water is figuratively seen and applies to several symbolic expressions. It could be used as the seed that which seeds all things. Now think about the water literally is that which seeds all things. So it's the flow of the mind of God. It's the flow of the God consciousness, and it seeds all things into manifestation. Or it could be used simply as water or watering, or as a flood water, or a water spring. So here again in Genesis 1 verse 6 and Genesis 1 verse 8 tells us that when God made mankind, he also made the entire universe. All right? And if we're going over scriptures a time or two, there's a purpose in it, okay? Just to get this stuff down. Now, in Colossians 1 verse 6, or 16 rather, the contemporary English version, it says, everything was created by him, and everything in heaven and on earth, everything seen and unseen, includes all forces and powers, and all rulers and authorities. All things were created by God's Son, and everything was made for him. Very powerful. So we see once again that all things were made by Jesus, who was God. He was God in the beginning. He's God at all times. And know this. This includes everything seen and unseen. So we want to understand that. Okay. Now, in Romans 8 verse 28. It says, for whom he foreknew, he also predestined, and to be conformed to the image of his Son, that he might be the firstborn among many brethren. So here's the thing. You were a part of the all things he made from before time was time. As we see here, yet another clue in Scripture that says he foreknew, which means to have a knowledge before him. We looked at that last time. Now, this is the same as what Jeremiah 1:5 said, in which even before Jesus manifested into the earth. The complete Jewish Bible, and I just want to see this one more time. Notice here, let me get this up for you. In in Jeremiah 1:5, and it says, before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Before I formed you in the womb, before you were born, I separated you for myself. Not from myself, but for myself. I have appointed you to be a prophet to the nations. Beautiful verse of Scripture, okay? Now, let's notice this. Again, you're a beautiful creation of the Father. That's who you are. And you were created in a time before time. All right? You were birthed forth through the portal of your mother's womb into visibility, but all of your existence prior to that was in invisibility, and that's who you still are. Okay? And you manifested into this human experience, and you, even though that's true, you remain fully spirit and fully as godlike in character and nature, even if your mind has lost its way and does not remember who you are. Okay? Well, remember this. An unseen or undiscovered truth, I said this before, an unseen or undiscovered truth does not stop being truth from the beginning, no matter what. Typically speaking, not even eternity can stop the truth from being the truth. Okay? This is very important. Next time we're going to jump into Genesis 1 verses 1 through 6, 6 through 8 rather, and beyond. Maybe even not that, maybe go past that, but there's some things we really need to see. So listen, I'm out of time again. So I want you to hold on right there, and just there's some information going to be on the screen for you. But what we want to see is I'll be back next time right here for more of the discovery of creation. See you then. Bye-bye.